If you are hearing this, it is not by chance. This message is a response. Perhaps you are tired, trying to keep everything together, but feeling that something inside you is hanging by a thread. Maybe you are asking, how much longer can I hold on? But today God wants to remind you of something that the world has forgotten. You are supported. You did not get here by your own strength. There were moments when even you did not understand how you kept going. But you did. And do you know why? Because heaven held you. Even on days of silence, of internal struggle, of hidden pain, God was there. And now He is saying, stop worrying. I am taking care of your journey. This is not the end. It is a new beginning. What seemed like stagnation was preparation. What seemed like punishment was direction. God did not abandon you. He was repositioning you. And now is the time to see this clearly. The time for survival is coming to an end. Now is the time to live supported, guided, and empowered by God's favor. I am George, and if this message touched your spirit, it is because something in you is awakening. Heaven is confirming what you have already felt, but could not explain. So follow the channel now, because here you will find direction, words, and confirmation to move forward, even when everything seems difficult. Spiritual awakening does not come with noise. It comes quietly, like a silent discomfort in the depth of your chest. You cannot explain it, but you feel that something has changed. The things that once satisfied you start to lose their meaning. What seemed normal now sounds empty. The soul begins to remember something that you do not yet understand. It is at this moment that questions arise. You start to wonder why you are here, what your role is, what truly matters. None of this comes with immediate clarity. It only brings an unease and discomfort with routine, with superficial conversations, with the automatic. It is as if your soul is trying to wake you up. This phase may seem strange. You feel that you are changing, but do not know exactly where you are going. Dreams become more intense. Silence begins to attract you more than noise. You find yourself seeking moments of peace, reflection, solitude. And this is not escape. It is reconnection. It is the beginning of awakening. You might even think that you are becoming more sensitive, more emotional, more introspective. And you are indeed. But not out of weakness. It is because your spirit is opening up. God is activating something in you that has been dormant. He is loosening the ties of the old life so that you can enter the new. Many times, this awakening happens after a pain, a loss, a disappointment, a difficult phase. It is as if everything crumbles on the outside so that the true foundation begins to be built on the inside. You start to realize that nothing is by chance, that even the falls pushed you closer to God. At other times it comes without a crisis. Only the emptiness arrives. That feeling that everything is fine, but nothing is okay. You have what you need, but you feel that something is missing. And what is missing is not something outside of you. It is your soul wanting to live with purpose, wanting to return to the origin. This call may be subtle, but it is firm. And once it begins, you can no longer ignore it. The things around you do not change immediately, but your way of seeing the world is no longer the same. You start to see more deeply, to listen more attentively, to notice signs. Some people distance themselves, others come closer, and you begin to understand that everything is being reorganized. This is the beginning of preparation. You are being shaped for something greater. And even if you do not see the complete picture, a part of you already feels, God is behind this. This is a precious time. And also delicate. It requires patience, faith, and courage. Because the old version needs to die so that the new can be born. But you are not alone. Every symptom you feel is a sign that heaven is touching you. that your soul is remembering who it truly is. Spiritual awakening does not happen only in the soul. It also affects the body. When God begins to activate something within you, your entire system reacts. That's why sometimes you feel unexplained fatigue, persistent insomnia, or a sudden cry that seems to come out of nowhere. It is not weakness. It is your body adjusting to the new frequency. It may seem like you are getting sick, but you are not. You are being realigned. Your sensitivity increases. What once went unnoticed now affects you. Sounds, environments, and even certain people start to wear you out more quickly. It's as if your body is filtering everything, protecting you from excess, forcing you to slow down and listen more deeply. The desire to isolate yourself may also arise, not out of disdain, but out of a need for silence. It's as if the noise of the world begins to bother you. You seek to be alone, not to escape, but to breathe. Your body senses that something sacred is happening and needs space to keep up. This is subtle, but real. Some people report chills during prayers, racing heartbeats for no apparent reason, or a strong presence in the early morning hours. These signs are not common, but they are also not dangerous. They are spiritual touches that the body interprets as physical sensations. God is making himself felt in new ways, and your body is learning to recognize this. Emotions also change. You may have moments of euphoria, and then immediately feel deep sadness. This is not instability, it is cleansing. The body holds emotional memories, traumas, and old pains. When the soul begins to awaken, all of this surfaces to be healed. You feel, cry, empty out, and then begin to be reborn. In this process, the body becomes an instrument of God. It signals, protects, directs. That's why in certain phases you feel sleepier, hungrier, less patient, or an enormous desire to change habits. These impulses are internal responses to the spiritual touch you are receiving. Respecting these signs is part of the process. Your heart also becomes more sensitive. You begin to feel when something is right or wrong, even without explanation. Your intuition strengthens. That inner voice that used to be shy now speaks louder, and the body follows, shivers, sighs, a tightness in the chest, or an unexpected lightness. All of this is a spiritual response. Don't be alarmed by these changes. They do not indicate imbalance. They show that you are coming out of automatic mode and aligning with your purpose. The body is just doing what it has always done, reacting to what the soul is experiencing. But now, you are paying attention, and this changes everything. Take good care of your body during this time. Drink more water, walk, breathe deeply, avoid excesses. The body is sustaining a transformation that begins in the invisible, but impacts the visible. When you honor this temple, you collaborate with what God is doing, and that care transforms into silent worship. You are not sick, you are awakening, and your body is faithfully accompanying this process, even when you do not understand. Trust. Everything is being aligned, even the most subtle details. The journey is not only spiritual, it is integral, and God is in every part of it. There are phases in life when everything seems to stop. Conversations diminish, invitations disappear, and even close people start to distance themselves. At first, this hurts. It feels like rejection. It feels like abandonment. But if you look closely, you will realize that this silence is not punishment. It is a call. God is setting you apart to speak more softly. Many of the chosen go through moments like this. Suddenly, the voices that distracted you disappear. The applause ceases. The rush slows down, and you find yourself face to face with the void. But this void is not the end. It is the beginning. Because when everything around you falls silent, That is when the voice of God begins to gain space. Silence has a role that noise will never fulfill. It reveals. It reveals who is truly with you. It reveals what inside you needs to be looked at. And most importantly, it reveals the presence of God that was previously muffled by the busyness. Isolation is often the laboratory where heaven prepares the chosen. It is common to feel invisible during this phase. It seems that no one notices you, that you have vanished from the world's radar. But in the spiritual realm, it is the opposite. You are being highlighted, removed from the crowd to be treated personally. This time is not loss, it is positioning. It is when God works without an audience, just between Him and you. Loneliness, when guided by God, becomes healing. He takes you away from noise, opinions, and distractions, so that you can reconnect with who you are. And in this process, He aligns your vision, cleanses your interior, and heals your wounds. It is in this silence that real transformation happens. It does not hurt for no reason. It is shaping something eternal. Many biblical figures were prepared in the desert. Moses, David, Elijah, Jesus. They all went through places of silence before fulfilling their calling. The desert is not punishment. It is separation. It is a place where you learn to depend on God, not on external approval, where faith grows in secret, away from human eyes. During this time, you may even question, why has God stopped talking to me? But He has not stopped. He is just speaking in a different way. Now it is not with flashy signs or loud voices. It is with subtle touches, intuitions, verses that come to mind, peace that arrives without explanation. This is the language of divine silence. And over time, you learn to listen differently. You learn that the absence of noise is not the absence of care, that the apparent delay is not rejection, that God is more present in your sincere silence than in 1,000 empty words. And this changes your relationship with Him forever. Embrace this moment. Do not try to fill the silence with distractions. Use this time to pray more, listen more, rest more. Do not worry about what others think. This is your time with God. And when this process ends, you will not be the same. You will come out stronger, more sensitive, and more ready. Silence is a divine language, and you are learning to listen. When everything becomes quiet around you, ask yourself, what does God want to show me now? Because He speaks. And when He speaks softly, it is because He is very close. Not all pain is punishment. Not all suffering is a sign of defeat. Many times, pain is the process that God uses to refine, strengthen, and prepare the chosen ones. And if you are going through a difficult moment, with silent tears and sleepless nights, know this: none of it is going unnoticed. Heaven is seeing everything. Every tear you cried in secret. Every time you forced yourself to keep going even with a broken heart. All of this is being counted. Your pain is not in vain. It is generating something that the eyes still cannot see. There are seeds being planted in the soil of suffering, and God is watering each one with promises. When God has a calling on someone, He allows certain processes that others may never go through. Because the mission is greater, the preparation is also deeper. The fire of pain does not come to destroy you, but to burn away what no longer serves you. To strip away the shells, to remove the excesses, to reveal who you truly are. It is in the valley that you learn to depend entirely on God. It is in the dark that faith is tested and strengthened. When everything seems lost, that is when He works the most. Heaven is never idle when the heart of the chosen is broken. It is in this brokenness that the greatest miracles are born. You may not understand right now. You may even feel that you are alone. But there is a purpose in everything. The pain is making you lighter, more sensitive, more prepared. And even if the world does not see, God sees. He knows how many times you thought about giving up. He knows the weight that you carry, and He is with you. Pain also connects you with others. It gives you empathy, compassion, wisdom. Those who suffer learn to look differently at the suffering of others. They learn to listen better, to judge less. That is why the chosen ones, after pain, become a response for others. The wound becomes a bridge. The tears turn into healing. Nothing you have faced was in vain. Nothing that hurt will be wasted. Even what seemed meaningless will be used. God does not throw away any part of your story. He transforms scars into testimonies. Where there were tears, there will be a harvest. Where there was loss, there will be restitution. And you will understand. It was necessary to go through all of this. Pain has made you stronger, but also more sensitive. It has stripped away pride, revealed your essence, and brought you closer to God. Now, you no longer live for appearances. You live for purpose. You no longer seek acceptance. You seek alignment, and this only happens when the soul is broken to be rebuilt by God. If today you are in the midst of the storm, remember, it has an end time. The weeping may last for a night, but joy will come. And when it comes, it will come with glory, with peace, with understanding. You will look back and say, it was worth it. Because every pain that passes through God returns, transformed into victory. There comes a moment when everything you have tried with your own strength seems to stop working. You dedicated yourself, did your best, worked hard, tried to keep everything upright. But even with effort, something still seemed to be missing. That is when God begins to act. Because when your hands get tired, His hands begin to move. God allows this exhaustion not to punish you, but to reposition you. While you believe that everything depends on you, you continue to fight alone. But when you surrender, when you say, Lord, I don't know what else to do, heaven understands that it is time to act. And a new source begins to open up. This source does not come from logic or from the strength of your arm. It comes from grace, from provision that does not depend on resumes, connections, or human strategies. It's as if heaven says, now that you have stopped running after everything, I will show you what it is like to live under my support. The favor of God does not follow logic. It arrives when no one expects it, in ways that no one understands. Sometimes you struggle for something for years, with no result. You try, restart, insist. And just when you think about giving up, a door opens. An unexpected invitation appears. A solution takes shape. And you understand. This did not come from effort. It came from heaven. It was not influence nor a resume. It was not a recommendation nor human strategy. It was favor. It was God's response to something that happened inside, in secret. Favor does not depend on what you possess, but on who you become while you wait. He is not impressed by appearance. He responds to silent faith, persistent obedience, true surrender. God honors those who remain faithful even when no one is watching. He sees the sacrifice you made when no one noticed. He saw when you chose to trust even in the face of silence. When everything screamed for you to give up, and yet you remained. Heaven does not forget that. When God decides to lift you up, there is no force that can stop you. Favor changes the rules. Where there was a barrier, He creates a path. Where there was delay, He releases acceleration. What was impossible begins to seem simple. And not because you have control, but because God decided to act. Favor puts you in places that your effort could never take you. And when you arrive there, you know it was Him. This favor is not for display. It is not a stage, nor vanity. It is a testimony. It is so that others can see how faithful God is. Those who receive the favor of God carry gratitude, not pride. They walk lightly, not weighed down, because they understand that nothing they have achieved was deserved, but mercy. Everything fits together: the waiting time, the pain, the silence. God was preparing. You will be surprised by answers that do not come through normal paths. What was stuck will begin to move. People who have never heard your name will open doors that no one else could. Connections will arise effortlessly. Projects that have been stagnant for years will come to life. Because favor does not need logic, just a willing heart. And yours is ready. Sometimes favor arrives just when you are tired, when you think about stopping, when you feel like you have no more strength to go on. It is at this point that God steps in. He shows that He has never left you behind, that He saw your tears, your fasts, your amens spoken with a weak voice. And now He chooses to act publicly. You were molded in silence, but now you will be lifted up before everyone, and not for vanity, but so that His name may be known. When God acts, it is not slowly. It is in His time. And it is perfect. Everything changes. The impossible bends. And favor testifies, God is the one who sustains you. There comes a moment in the journey when everything starts to fall into place. Not because it became easy, but because you changed from within. You no longer despair in the face of silence. You no longer chase after what does not belong to you. You have learned to listen, to wait, and most importantly, to discern. This is called alignment. It is when heaven and your walk move in the same rhythm. This alignment does not come with noise. It manifests in the peace you feel, even in the midst of the storm. It is when decisions are no longer made out of anxiety, but out of direction. You begin to trust in God's timing, and with that, you avoid wrong paths, shallow connections, and dangerous distractions. Everything starts to flow with purpose. Your intuition becomes more sensitive. You notice the signs. You know when to retreat and when to advance. You no longer need external confirmations because your spirit already senses when something comes from God. This level of alignment protects you. It reduces mistakes, closes cycles, and opens doors that were waiting only for your maturity. You begin to see that you do not need to prove anything to anyone. The blessings reach you naturally. The right opportunities appear without you having to force them. People begin to seek you out for who you are, not for your appearance. This happens because your atmosphere has changed. You carry something that cannot be manufactured. It is presence. It is truth. At this stage, even your silence carries authority. Your words have more weight, your energy conveys more clarity. Not because of your name, but because of the anointing that covers you. You become someone who carries heaven in their steps, and wherever you go, something changes. It is not you who draws attention. It is God in you. Living in alignment with heaven does not mean the absence of struggles. But now the struggles do not destabilize you as they did before. You know who sustains you. You know who called you. And that is enough. When faith is anchored in identity, no storm can sweep you away. You stand firm with your feet on the ground and your eyes on high. This alignment also changes your view of time. You are no longer in a hurry. You do not demand quick answers. You know that everything has a purpose, and that what comes from God arrives complete, at the right time. And when it comes, you are prepared, because you have already been shaped, refined, and trained in the silence and the secret place. If you are starting to feel this, celebrate. You are no longer the same person. And this is the result of a divine process. A heaven that called you, cleaned you, positioned you. Now it is time to walk with awareness, with lightness, and with faith. Because you and the purpose are already in the same step, and this changes everything. Chosen one, you are not here by chance. Everything you have lived until now has been shaping you for this moment. God has not only seen you in secret, He has sustained you in silence. And now, He begins to align you with what has always been His plan. Do not fight against the process anymore. Heaven is already sustaining your journey. You no longer need to anguish yourself trying to resolve everything on your own. What once was effort is now becoming direction. Where there was doubt, there is now peace. You are being repositioned to live by faith, not by fear. You are being guided by a hand that knows exactly where to take you. And yes, you have already overcome a lot, more than you realize. This is the time to trust, not just in the easy moments, but especially in the silent ones, because it is in this place that God works the most. Your walk will not be perfect, but it will be true. And the truth attracts favor, provision, and direction. Stay firm. You are not lost. You are being led. If this message has found you at the right time, share something real in the comments. It could be a moment when you felt God's favor, a phase of silence that taught you something, or a pain that now makes sense. Leave something with depth. Your experience may be exactly what someone needs to read right now. We are walking together, and heaven is moving,